We've got one on the run. Come on.
Parkour!
Come on out of there, Angry Eyes. We've got you surrounded. My friend Angry Eyes here has been on the run. He is a real bad dude, just like Pineapple, who got taken out from up there by a sniper way on top of that cabin. He's a real bad dude. He's been on the run, and for whatever reason, he's found himself holed up in some sort of municipal storage area or something like that, because he is hiding behind this big old stack here of Firehose. Now, this stuff here is pretty tough stuff, but the question that my friend Angry Eyes here has to be asking himself is,
do I feel lucky?
Probably not that, but probably, is this solid enough? Is this bulletproof enough to stop a bullet from a large firearm from coming through and putting an end to Angry Eyes' reign of terror? This right here is it's 1.5 or 1.75 fire hose. This is all retired hose. It's all it has leaks, tears, whatever in it, and this is pretty tough stuff. This is all synthetic. I believe it has it's like made out of polyester and maybe Kevlar. I'm not exactly sure what the contents of it are. I'm sure somebody in the comments can tell me exactly what it is and all the mistakes that I've made here. But it's pretty tough stuff. This stuff, you test it up to 400 PSI. So it's pretty stout. And what we have here, if you look down, there are multiple layers of this stuff to get through. And depending on which way we shoot it, it may come through here, sort of like angled armor on a tank. But we are going to see today from a very small caliber up to the largest caliber I have, which is the 6.5 Creedmoor. We're going to see if anything can go through all this fire hose and deal with our friend Angry Eyes here, who has just been on a reign of terror. Now, normally with something like this, I would start with pistols, but I think today we are going to start with the 22 long rifle out of this Henry lever action. This is a pretty cool gun. It's one of the classics here. Let's take a look at that. So we shot a bunch into him. I'm not exactly sure how many we ended up shooting. I just started and didn't want to stop, but it only went through this very first layer of this jacket here. There are a ton of 22 slugs in this hose now. So I mean, someone buried in the second one, someone barely even got out of this first one. I think that one there is still in that first one. So we'll move up to a bigger caliber and a pistol and see what happens. 9mm out of the SIG P365, and all the ammo we're using today is just standard bullets that, you know, full metal jackets, nothing special, unless, you know, I say otherwise, if decide to throw one in there. We'll see how this does, and if you guys haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button down below and the like button so this video keeps on moving through the algorithm. Let's see how Mr. Angry Eyes fares against 9mm. Let's check that out. So I was mainly hitting the second layer here. I took this one off the top, and we got some 22 slugs still in there. But when you start looking in here, you got 1, 2, 3, and I've already looked at this, so I kind of know where it is. 4, 5, 6, and I think that that's a 9mm slug in there. And then 7, if you can see in there, is where it stops. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah, you can see maybe that slug down in there for the 9mm. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It stopped on the 6th layer. 40 caliber out of a Glock 23. I'm gonna try to hit the top layer more so that we don't have to unstack all that, but we'll see how this goes. Much bigger holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, but you're probably going to be surprised about this. Much less penetration with the 40 cal than the 9mm. On this one, you go through the first one easily, then you get to the second layer, still going through the third layer, and there's the bullet right there, stopped Yeah, I hope you guys can see that, in the 4th layer. So bigger bullet. I don't exactly know what the velocity difference is between the 9mm and the 40, but being that it is a millimeter bigger in diameter, that could have a big determination on how much that energy is absorbed quickly in this synthetic fire hose. From here, we'll go up to some rifle calibers and see if those can get through this, because right now, Mr. Angry Eyes is looking pretty darn safe. Guys, I had forgotten I even brought this, but let's try out a 1 ounce slug out of, it's a 2 3/4 1 ounce slug, and we'll see what that does to it. And this BP-12 is actually, the more I use it and take it out, the better it gets every time I go. So let's give this a shot. This one might do some damage, but I still don't think that it's gonna go all the way through just because of the size of this slug. We'll see. Oh, that's gonna knock the whole table over. But as you can see, you know, it cycled just fine, locked the bolt back, and it's doing that better on lower and lower powered ammunition. So I've been looking here while, you know, you guys have been off camera, which probably seems like a second. It's been about 10 minutes. For the life of me, I cannot find that 1 inch slug. I did find the wad for it because it was extremely hot when I picked it up. And then I found a bunch of other bullets in it. I got it's a nice little 9mm. And then I found, when I was digging through there, I found a 40, right? But no 1 ounce slug from the 12 gauge. But here's the thing. He's got no marks on him still. So he survived, but you can say that his cover was blown at that point, because that had enough force to knock this whole thing plus the table over. So, you know, that's kind of a maybe if it would have got him, because you might not have got him on that shot, but you'd get him on the second. So we're going to move up to some actual rifle calibers, or to some rifle calibers, and see how that does. So far, our guy can't be touched, perfectly safe behind that stack of fire hose. But now we're going to start bringing out the classics and the more heavy hitters. The, you know, AK-47. Everyone knows how to use it. It's a classic. 7.62 by 39 should have a little bit more power than that 300 Blackout, especially through a longer barrel. See how this does. So far, so good for Angry Eyes. The bad part about this one is it kind of went in on an angle and then just skimmed between these two sections of hose, this one and that one. But, you know, it pretty much spent most of its time in this this particular stack. Went in, we had at least one hit the coupling there, which, you know, is part of the hose, so, you know, that counts as well. And then we had them come all the way out to like here. This one was also skimming along to about here. I found this AK-47 bullet just sitting right here between the rolls of hose here. So I think that there's a really good chance that we can get through this with either 5.56 or 6.5 Creedmoor, so let's do it. This is America's gun, man. This has got to get it done. We do not negotiate with terrorists. In this aggression by Mr. Angry Eyes, this aggression will not stand, man. Hopefully, we can finally get through with this 5.56. It's a round that's hotter than hell. It's going like 30, 200, 3,000, depending on what type of bullets you're using. I'm thinking that this is going to do it, so let's give it a rip. Yep. If that didn't do it, I'm not sure what will. Other than maybe a 50 cal, which if you subscribe and we get enough revenue, I'll get you a 50 cal. I had to unravel this a lot to try to get enough slack to get into it, but here's where they all went in, and I've only been able to unravel it enough to find what I think is one of them, and it is right here. It is between this fold and this fold. The bullet itself is right there, and you know, the reason I think it's a small bullet, none of the pistol rounds went in this far, and the AK-47 rounds went in quite a bit farther. So I think that the 5.56 actually did worse than the AK-47, and it probably did in the same ballpark as the 300 Blackout, which I got to be honest with you, I'm surprised with for how fast that bullet is moving. But maybe it's a fragmentation thing, maybe it can't stay together, maybe it's a tumbling thing. that 223 is famous for. So we'll go for our biggest shot. We'll use the 6.5 Creedmoor on it and see if that has anything that can get through this. This is our last chance before this dude is permanently on the lam. I have in here a 6.5 Creedmoor. The only bad thing is it's got a soft tip on it. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but that may have an effect on it. But otherwise, it's the most powerful round that I have down here. And we'll see if we can get it through finally and get this guy. Let's check it out. So I unraveled all of this hose down here to see where we got to, and this is the bullet from the 6.5 Creedmoor. It only made it less than halfway through this roll of hose, and you know, I don't know if that soft point had a lot to do with that. It probably did, flattening it out and making a lot more resistance, but I did expect it to go further than halfway through the hose. I'm gonna dig this thing out. I'll put a picture of it on the community page, but I can officially say the Firehose is bulletproof for at least the things that we have. Now, if you guys share this video, if you like it, if you subscribe, we can get more revenue. We can get a 50 cal in here. Try this again with a 50 cal BMG. If anything, it'll probably either shoot straight through it or do the same thing that the 12 gauge with the 1 ounce slug did and just knock the whole thing over. So guys, AK-47 is the big winner in this one. The classic, probably the oldest one here as far as, you know, as I can tell. Maybe the Henry has a older design, but hey, down in the comments, you guys fight as to why your caliber didn't win, your favorite gun didn't win, what I did wrong in this test, and we can come out here and we can do it again. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one.